On today's episode, you'll learn how the Wistia platform has evolved from one type of video content to a multitude of things that you can do within the platform, and how this can help overtaxed marketers, especially if you're a marketer of one or few, to make video more accessible, more efficient to create, and even look better for presenters like your subject matter experts that are pretty camera shy. Let's do this.
Welcome to Content Marketing Engineered, your source for building trust and generating demand with technical content. Here is your host, Wendy Covey.
Hi, and welcome to Content Marketing Engineered. On each episode, I'll break down an industry trend, challenge, or best practice in reaching technical audiences. You'll meet colleagues, friends, and clients of mine who will stop by to share their stories. And I hope that you leave each episode feeling inspired and ready to take action. Before we jump in, I'd like to give a brief shout out to my agency, True Marketing. True is a full service agency located in beautiful Austin, Texas, serving highly technical companies. For more information, visit truemarketing.com. And now on with our podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Content Marketing Engineered. I'm joined today by Elise Beck. She is the Senior Director of Product Marketing at Wistia. Welcome to the show, Elise.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, on this cold day, you're in Boston and it's snowy, and I'm glad we have our warm offices here.
Oh yeah, I've got the space heater blowing on my feet. It's bitter out there, and with the amount of snow we got, we need something to keep us warm and toasty.
Well, good. Well, we'll heat things up inside this little podcast studio today.
Yes.
Talk about video and video content and video marketing. But before we jump into our topic, I'd love to just hear a little bit about your career journey and what led you to your role today at Wistia.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like one I don't talk about a ton, but yeah, I have since I graduated college, you kind of like don't know what you're going to do, but found myself working for a small tech company in Boston, and tech kind of became my passion and something that I realized I really loved. I think one of the things that's probably relevant to a lot of folks listening in is that like being able to kind of sit in and understand deeply complex things, or especially bringing, also in that world of startups and new concepts, like bringing new things to market is really interesting to me, trying to untangle complexity and find, what makes a product special is something I really love. So yeah, kind of was in generalist marketing roles the beginning of my career, and then found a home in product marketing, and it's been a fantastic ride ever since. I spent 6 years actually at HubSpot, so very much in that marketing tech space, and then made my way to Wistia about 3 years ago. And it's been such a fun journey to see how the video marketing space and what Wistia's been up to has evolved. So it's great ride.
Fast growing company for sure.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I love that you have this background in tech and understand a complex buying cycle, because that's definitely the listeners of this podcast and the watchers are all about that too. So why do you think video, just fundamentally, why is video important for companies in manufacturing and engineering that have this complexity?
Yeah, it seems so obvious at sometimes, like thinking about it, but video is just such an incredible way to communicate things, right? We say like a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video must be worth 1,000,000. Video just allows you to communicate things that are complex, showing visuals and explaining things alongside that, verbal explanation or sometimes a written explanation. And it's just such a powerful thing. And I think one of the biggest shifts and one of the things that's been so valuable to marketers, frankly, is that videos become more and more accessible over the past, definitely since the pandemic, right? Because we had to all pivot to becoming virtual and getting comfortable on camera just to attend our Zoom meetings and all of that with our colleagues. But that kind of comfortability has really evolved to be something that like we just are able to use, and the tooling and everything has made it more accessible, which is just fantastic for folks who, maybe felt like video was something out of reach, something that felt reserved for brand moments or big fancy big budget videos, things like that. But it really is more accessible and more kind of like authentic. You can just kind of explain things, and folks are more accepting of that, and it can be really valuable.
I'm so excited to talk more about that. But I wanted to, before we jump to some of the ways in which video is easier to do, because oh my gosh, everybody needs to hear about that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find interesting is companies that have really large products that you can't like bring into a sales meeting easily, right? And demo the product. And so being able to show video to do that, or show a process or something like that. So a lot of people just thinking about how can we put this in sales hands and take the place of, something like a plant visit or something that's
Yes.
just harder to pull off.
Exactly. It allows you to scale so much more effectively. And I feel like I want to talk about some of the stuff Wistia has been cooking up. I think we'll talk about that later, but really it is about like helping people do more with less, right? We're all trying to do so much, and whether you have a huge product and it's hard to get everyone up to speed with the specialty of it, like, yeah,
Mhm.
video can go a long way there.
Yeah. Tell me, have you guys studied how video impacts searchability? So the idea of my brand being found in Google or a generative search engine. I know at one point in time, Google seemed to like they bought YouTube and they seemed to be prioritizing video. And then it was like, well, maybe not. Maybe it's
Yeah.
Reddit. So anyway, yeah, impact on SEO. Tell me, what's the
Yeah.
latest?
I'm so glad you asked about that, because that's like such a big topic right now. I feel like, oh boy, we've been talking about it so much at Wistia. Like as marketers, we're seeing search, the entire landscape of search is evolving, right? With AI, not just, of course, LLMs and folks increasingly discovering things via ChatGPT or Claude, but also just the role that like AI snippets and AI highlights are playing on Google, and people are getting answers without needing to get to a destination, which is just like a whole new thing that us as marketers need to figure out and navigate. And we, of course, at Wistia, this being, working with marketers is kind of our thing, have been paying a very close attention to that. And one of the cool things that we kind of discovered specifically with LLMs and video is that video isn't really surfaced in LLMs. If you're looking for a video specifically, it can find that. It can show you the video, but it's not able to understand the actual contents within the video itself. So the
Oh,
transcript, what
interesting.
the actual dialogue is, all of the good
Mhm.
stuff that's in that video. LLMs know there's a video. That's about all they know.
Yeah.
And so what we actually built, we call it an LLM friendly embed. And so what it allows you to do is we automatically transcribe all of your videos on Wistia. And so with this embed code, we'll actually take the full transcription and pipe it into that embed code. So when you add it to your site, your video and the entire transcript will be readable by LLMs. And so for the end user, they're still able to see the video just as it normally is. Nothing looks different. It's still fast, still performant. Injecting that extra transcript doesn't necessarily change the speed at which it loads or anything like that, which is fantastic. But it gives now LLMs the ability to read what's in the video. And we've, when folks use this LM embed, we've seen ChatGPT start to pull that information into its responses, which is really cool. So yeah, we're just trying to stay really on top of all of the trends and the shifts. It's all changing so much, which can be so challenging for marketers.
Oh, yeah.
But really thinking about video, and specifically thinking about things like using the LLM embed, mouthful, is just an awesome way to get that great content that you already have and have it be findable, and kind of like populate in these results, which is great.
Okay. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So video, as we talked about, used to seem like such this huge barrier, and a lot of people listening are a marketer, department of one or a department of few, and so how does Wistia help those folks? How is it easier now?
Yeah, great question. So I know I started to tease at this a little bit earlier, but I think, already we've seen like a growing comfortability with video with our needing it for work and Zooms, and also our phones and FaceTimes and all of that with family. There's kind of this growing comfortability with video in general. But at Wistia, we really pride ourselves on making sure that people feel comfortable on camera and that we're equipping them with the tools that they need to make really polished and professional looking video without needing all of the skills or heavily technical tooling. So on the content side, our team is always kind of publishing great resources for helping you like improve your at-home setup and make your camera look good and make your lighting look good and how to look best using some easy, lightweight things you can find. Either maybe you have them at home or things you can quickly get off Amazon, a webcam, whatever. So that's on our content side. And then from a product perspective, we've have, of course, our core video hosting, but we've really been investing in our video creation tools over the past few years. And I think especially over the past year, really working on our video recording and editing and making improvements that help people feel really confident looking their best on camera. So of course there are little things, virtual backgrounds and script teleprompters and script generators, but some of the really cool things have been the infusion of AI into our product. And so we have features like AI powered enhanced audio. So you record a video and you think it sounds great, but maybe your dog's barking in the background. My dog was barking a minute ago. Maybe you guys heard her in the recording, but you can use our AI enhanced audio and it'll automatically scrub and clean up some of that background noise. We also
It's like the
have
magic eraser,
yes,
on the photos now.
yes, exactly.
But for
Exactly. So
audio.
just that quick polish to just kind of dial things up, tighten them up so that folks feel like just that much more confident. We have also like social clips tool that automatically pulls like the what we find to be like the highlights that you can repurpose for social. So kind of helping you figure out how to cut down a long form video recording into those bite-sized pieces. We also have AI powered dubbing and lip sync translation for video. So if you have things that you're trying to put out to different regions, you can use that to translate it and get it out for everyone. So these are all the things that it's like, take it back 10 years ago, I think back to my career even at HubSpot, where, huge global company trying to do some of these things can take a long time. It can take a lot of people. And so at Wistia, we're really trying to bring these tools together to empower maybe that team of one, or maybe that small team, but folks are more novice or not as in the weeds, and really trying to help make them feel empowered and capable to do more with video.
Love, those are great features. What about interacting with websites? I know that people want to put video on their website, but they're worried it's going to slow down the performance. How does Wistia address that?
Yeah, so we actually recently redesigned our video player. We call it Aurora, and it's one of the most like lightweight players to exist. It's lightning fast, and so really, in terms of any performance issues or anything like that, there's nothing to worry about. So it's really no issue there, which is great. And I know sometimes it can be a little bit cumbersome to building your own. Some folks try to build their own video solution, and we kind of like make it easy by taking care of all of that for you. So your video always performs. It's lightning fast, loads fast. SEO benefit and use the LLM embed, AEO, or whichever acronym you choose to use there, also optimized. So it's pretty great.
So what is the most common types of videos that people are making with Wistia?
That is a great question. In terms of the most common types of video that people are making with Wistia, not just uploading, we see a lot of folks creating demos or explainers, kind of because we have that great screen share ability and help people also like feel and look confident and polished when they're talking through things or giving a demo. People really love that. One of the other cool things that is kind of honestly like flies under the radar, but we allow you to edit your video, of course, afterwards. I've talked a lot about our editing, but you can really easily flip between just your screen, just your camera, both at the same time. And so another kind of like editing trick for those demos where maybe you want to just focus on the screen, or maybe you want to secretly like be really reading your script and not have your face on screen during that part. So we just allow you to do that editing and really clean things up and make sure that it's really polished and something that you feel proud to share with your audience, whether that's folks internally or an audience externally.
Yeah. So a lot of it sounds like confidence boosting features for the presenter, but also time saving features for the marketer or whoever it is on the editing side of that probably doesn't have a background in video editing and
Yes.
just open up Camtasia and get going or whatever it is. So,
yeah, exactly.
I find it interesting. So before we hopped on, we're recording this in Riverside, and you were just saying, talking about Wistia and what you guys are doing with podcast. And it's just interesting how video bleeds into social, and it bleeds into podcasting, and it bleeds into just content for your website and sales enablement. And so there's all these tentacles to it. So I feel like in some ways people might think of video a little bit too narrowly and not think of all these different situations where it's just back to you could use the same platform for multiple uses.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think I mentioned to you as well, we're working on and have it now in beta, our group recording, which is basically a virtual recording studio, much like Riverside. But we started with our webinar product back in, about 3 years ago. We released our webinar product, and that was kind of like our first big foray into this long form organic content. And it was funny because at the time we were doing a lot of research and figuring out, like, we were asking people, oh, do you do video? What's your video strategy look like? No, we're not doing video. It's something I want to do more of. Well, are you doing webinars? Yes. Well, it's like video, like
Great
webinars
example.
are a video. And especially when we're thinking about teams that are lean or trying to create more content, trying to do more with less, that's where we've really been excited to help people kind of unlock the potential of webinars and now group recording. So interviews, podcasts, customer stories, whatever types of virtual recording you're doing. But basically making it really easy for folks to take that recording, again, whether it's a webinar or something else, and turn it into, like I mentioned, social clips, turn it into some on-demand gated content that maybe is broken out with chapters and has a nice form on it, so you can use that for lead capture. Really just helping people do more with what they're doing is kind of the main thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah. You probably remember when you were back at HubSpot, there was the idea of the all-in-one marketing platform. And obviously HubSpot has since pivoted, but I bet you were there during that time. And in a way, it reminds me of that, this all-in-one video platform that can do these different marketing functions that we used to have siloed tools for.
Yep. Yeah, 1,000%, right? That's exactly where we've kind of been on our journey, going from video hosting and bringing in our webinar product, recording, editing. We have an amazing review and approvals tool that could replace a Frame.io. There's all of the bits and pieces, but really, I think the core of what we're doing, separate from replacing, because all of these tools are also fantastic and can have their own use, but it's really trying to streamline things for marketers who just have a million things on their plate. They're just trying to get things done. And we talk about that a lot because, of course, there's amazing video editing tools, Adobe Premiere, things that the professionals can use. And if you're using that, that's fantastic. Like, we're not trying to compete and tell you that Wistia is better than Adobe Premiere, but it's like, if you're that marketer who just needs to trim down this cut, just trim down this demo, trim down this fill in the blank, we want to make that easy for you. And we want to make you feel like you can do it and you can stitch in a bumper and make it look beautiful and send it out and do what you need to do and kind of get on with your day and see, of course, the results for it. And analytics are another thing that are super important to us. But yeah, that's really our goal.
Tell me more about the analytics.
Yes. So analytics have always been something that we pride ourselves in, of course, there's a million other ways to host video, but we really try to make sure our analytics are robust and show you not only how many people are viewing your video content, but who those people are. And so we have analytics based on video. We have heat maps for different users. And if you have your marketing automation platform synced, so if you have HubSpot connected to Wistia, you can view heat maps for individual contacts, seeing exactly where they viewed videos, where they dropped off. All of that shows up on their contact record, which is amazing for just A, like sales insights, but B, you can use that to score leads, trigger follow-ups, whatever the case may be. And our webinar analytics are also really awesome. We released a feature called Attendee Analytics. So again, the theme is kind of like getting granular on individual engagement data where we can.
Cool.
And so when someone registers for your webinar, we really show you, and the visual is beautiful. I wish I could do it justice by speaking to it. But for each individual that registered, you can see the little heat map of the emojis they sent, the chats they sent, where they, were engaged on your webinar versus where they maybe like opened up their Gmail inbox or went over to somewhere else.
No one does that during a webinar.
Never.
What are you talking about?
But it's awesome to be able to see all of that right there, right? Because we've all done webinars, and like you can see who shows up, who doesn't, and there's really so much more to the story than that. So it can be so helpful for your sales team to see like, whoa, this guy asked like 13 questions and was super engaged. Like maybe that's someone who we do a more tailored follow-up with.
Great. Okay. So the other thing I know that you guys do is you have a research report, and I love research. It's called the State of Video. And what types of information are in there? Give me a couple highlights.
So many things. So we are working on our 2026 State of Video report now. So stay tuned for that. I think it's coming out in April. But we, of course, still are also still talking about our 2025 State of Video report until that new one comes out. And it's amazing. We basically survey, I think, over 1,300 people, marketers across different industries. We also scrub through our own data of over 100 million Wistia videos to kind of look for trends and insights and publish them all in this report that, as you mentioned, we release once a year. So some of the really interesting findings from last year, where we're seeing more and more people bring video production in-house. Obviously, that's kind of like in line with what I was mentioning, that video is becoming more accessible, more people feel comfortable kind of like bringing that in-house. It doesn't feel like something that, belongs special with a group of external vendors anymore. So that's a really interesting insight. And of course, AI and how folks use AI is another big kind of trend that comes out of the report. We've seen that more people are using AI for ideation and for kind of coming up with video ideas. We actually have another report, our AI video report, that will be out, I believe, in February. And that's kind of like our little precursor, I guess, our appetizer for our State of Video report with all kinds of trends we're seeing about how people are using AI and video. So yeah, it's an awesome report. You should definitely check it out.
So I don't know if this is then a spoiler alert to the appetizer, but I'm curious if B2B companies are experimenting at all with video avatar people, and if that's something, or where you stand on that, or where Wistia stands on that, because I know it's pretty controversial.
Yeah, it is really interesting because, right, we talk a ton about that internally, and specifically we call synthetic video is that realm of like basically coming up with video out of nothing, out of just an idea and generating a video. And we're, thinking like, where should we invest? What are people interested in? And of course, there are amazing companies. HeyGen is doing a ton there, and Synthesia, and there are a lot of companies out there that are doing a lot with avatars and synthetic video creation. But we're actually seeing that for the most part, marketers aren't quite there yet. The biggest areas where folks are using AI are more like unsurprising things like generating transcripts and captions. I think the video localization example that I mentioned is kind of starting to increase in popularity, but it's really most the captioning, and that's really where we're seeing folks more. But I expect that these trends will change. Like even there's the examples of like the Will Smith video of like AI generated Will Smith eating spaghetti like 2 years ago versus this year, and how wildly unnatural this thing looked of Will Smith eating spaghetti 2 years ago. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And then versus the newer one, it's like, oh, that could actually be Will Smith eating spaghetti. So it's getting scary and wildly impressive how good AI is getting. So it's just something that we're continuing to watch and think about how we just empower marketers to leverage this. And I think something we think a lot about at Wistia is how do we also balance that with authenticity and allowing video to do the thing that video does, which is kind of allow us to connect in this way. And
Yeah. And being a trusted brand and a trusted resource is so important for engineers and technical buyers. So I get a little with the thought of having an avatar step in for an actual subject matter expert. I'm like, I don't care how well spoken that avatar is. I'm not a big fan of the concept for this audience, for sure. But I am going to check out that Will Smith. I haven't seen that then and now. We'll put it in the show notes. We'll go look it up for everybody. Good. Well, I know that your colleague Taylor is going to be presenting at our Industrial Marketing Summit, and Wistia is our big sponsor of the event, and we're just so happy and grateful for your support. So thank you.
Of course.
Taylor's going to present, so I have the official title here. Video Marketing with Impact: Ideas, Tactics, and Measurement for the Industrial Marketer. So I know she's going to get very specific for our audience, and excited to meet her. And any chance she'll be at the event too, Elise?
I will not, unfortunately, but y'all should, if you're going to be there, definitely come hang with Taylor. We're going to I think we're going to have a great little crew that's heading out. So it should be a fun time.
And we're having Wistia is the big sponsor of our party, and it's going to be on the lake, and there's turtles that you can feed. There's going to be a live longhorn and barbecue and margaritas. I mean, such a good time. I'm sorry, I'm making you jealous.
I know. I think I saw this on LinkedIn and was getting FOMO. So you're just, especially as we think about, the cold here.
Next year. You have to come. It's going to be nice and warm compared to Boston by then. Well, Elise, where can people go to connect with you and learn more about Wistia?
So for all things Wistia, definitely check out wistia.com and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, my name is Elise Beck. You can find me there. Thank you so much for having me, Wendy. This was amazing.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining me today on Content Marketing Engineered. For show notes, including links to resources, visit truemarketing.com/podcast. While there, you can subscribe to our blog and our newsletter and order a copy of my book, Content Marketing Engineered. Also, I would love your reviews on this podcast. So please, when you get a chance, subscribe and leave me your review on your favorite podcast subscription platform. Thanks and have a great day.